This is Pat Redbone Vegas, and I watch Shadow Ridge School's YouTube channel.
Hi, this is Acela Cortese, the voice of Redbone, and I watch Shadow Ridge School's YouTube channel.
The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
All right, this is the Vince Vivian experience. My name is Vince, and I'm here with.
Owen Lyon.
Al Smith. Tony Marshall.
Good to have you guys. All right, please describe when and where you were born.
I was born in Detroit, Michigan in 1943.
I was born in Washington, D.C., 1946.
All right.
I got you beat.
What were your guys' parents like?
And then his father died and left him some money, and his dream came true of opening up a restaurant. And he found a location in Detroit on Joy Road in the Wildermere, and he called it Al's Kentucky Style Fried Chicken. We copied KFC's recipe. and we had a buddy of my dad who had developed flour ingredients that was close to tasting like the KFC chicken.
Nice.
And we had a henny penny. My dad didn't have a college degree, didn't finish high school. He owned 4 restaurants in Detroit. And what I learned from him, everybody liked my dad. And I was around lawyers, I was around accountants, I was around business people every day in his restaurant when he first started.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned so much from all of them. And when I was working, I started out managing restaurants. I helped my dad for a while, and then fathers and sons have their little disagreements.
Yeah.
Your dad wants you to work harder than anybody that's working there.
Of course.
I left $150 day as a sky cap at American Airlines to go work for my daddy for $90 a week.
A week?
A week.
It's wild.
A big difference, but I'm glad that I did it.
Mm-hmm.
If I had stayed sky capping, I would have been well off, but I wouldn't have ever learned the things that I learned.
Yeah.
About managing businesses, about people, and writing. I would have never got it because you can do it 100. I'm about talking about in 65.
Yeah.
$150 a day, carrying people's luggage at the airport. When I first went to American Airlines, I said to myself, I don't want to carry people's suitcases. What is all that about? So they gave me a job cleaning up airplanes. And I didn't have a car. I used to have to take the bus from downtown Detroit out to the airport. And so Skycaps would give me a ride. And they were getting in Cadillacs and Lincolns. They walk into a nightclub, and the ladies would flock to them, and they'd say, set up. I said, you know what? The next time there's an opening in skycapping, let me know. And I did it for a while, and then I left and went to work for my dad, which was another one of the best things I ever did.
Yeah.
I learned so much, and he loved me, and he spoiled me. I miss my father and my grandmother very, very much.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I learned so much from both of them.
Of course.
So you do talk a lot about your childhood, saying you learned a lot. What would you say would be the highlights of your childhood?
The highlights of my childhood would probably be living with my grandmother and the knowledge that I gained from Granny and the help. She was always there for us. And because my dad, before he opened up the restaurants, was a gambler, I couldn't stay with him all the time.
Yeah.
At that time, it was not legal to be gambling for money inside the house. police would break the door down.
Yeah.
But, hey, he was an uneducated man, and that was his skill, and that's what he did, hustled to make money. But my grandmother was a secure lady. She had a nice home. She never made over $75 a week in her life. She was a maid at J.L. Hudson's department store. But she saw how the wealthy people decorated their homes, and she emulated them. And when she died, she had 2 duplexes and $50,000 in cash that she left to my dad and his brother, and she never made over $75 a week as a maid.
That's crazy.
42 years. She
That
worked
is
for J.L.
crazy.
Hudson's, yeah. So my granny was the best part. She was always there for me. And she didn't want me sleeping at aunt to uncle's. So she brought me into her home.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Of course. When did you first realize you wanted to go into the military?
I was this kid walking around junior high school, in high school with a suit on, a briefcase, and $200 or $300 in my pocket from gambling. And I started skipping classes in high school because what I need to go to school for, I got all this money and
Yeah.
this image and everything. And they contacted my parents and my grandmother and told them that I was skipping school.
Mm-hmm.
And when they confronted me at my grandmother's house, my father, my mother, and my grandmother said, "We can't have this. You can't be doing this. You have to go to school."
Yeah.
And I said to myself, you know what? I'm not going to do what they want me to do. I need a job. I need some money coming in. I need a place to stay, and I need some traveling in my life and learning. And that's when I went and joined the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
I was 17 years old, and my mother had to sign for me. But it was the best thing that I ever did in my life was to go into the military. And when you go to boot camp, I thought I was a man. And the sergeant told me, "Hey, boy, you shut your mouth up and don't speak unless you're spoken to." Remember? They change your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
They make you responsible. They show you how to achieve your goals. They discipline you. They teach you how to dress. They teach you how to be responsible in your life. That was the best thing I ever did in my life was join the military because I was a kid.
Yeah.
I thought I was a man. I was just a little boy running around with a suit and a briefcase and a few $100 in my pocket. And that changed my whole life. And if I put this here like this, and I see it like that, in the military, you put it back where it belongs.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
we're really highly trained to take care of business.
Of course.
yeah, I understand that training is different now. My brother is in the National Guard, and
Yeah.
he's in boot camp. What was training, what was the experience like overall? Like,
Frightening. They didn't take any mess whatsoever in boot camp. They were in complete control of your life while you were there. And they, like I told you, they taught you how to be responsible. They taught you how to achieve your goals. They taught you how to be neat and clean. And they would come in and do inspections on foot lockers. And if you didn't have that foot locker correctly, spaced out correctly, they would dump it and say, "We'll be back in 15, 20 minutes. It better be right when we come back."
Mm-hmm.
That changes your whole life
Yeah.
because now you want everything in your life to be like it's supposed to be. And that training goes with you up until today.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 80 years old, and I'm still. That's out of place.
Yeah.
It's in place. First thing my grandmother taught me to do, when you get paid, pay your bills first.
Yeah. Pay yourself first.
pay your bills
Yeah.
first. Go buy some food. And if you don't have any money left to party, stay at home and have everything you want at home. And that was the best advice. And I taught my daughter that also. And I'm writing a book now called The Lessons of Life That All Children Need to Learn. And I had to stop writing it because of COVID, because I didn't have anybody to do the word processing for me. And I got to find somebody to do that. But in this book, it tells you you have to teach your children about the finances of your home. You have to teach your children about how to shop. And that's what they did to me. You know, they taught me all of these things. So now I can manage my affairs. When you get paid, that money's not to go out and party and
Yeah.
have a good time. When you get paid, that money is to take care of your responsibilities. And that's what my new book is, The Lessons of Life That All Children Need to Learn.
What was like when you finished your training? Where were you stationed?
My first station was in Texas. What was it? It was at a Strategic Air Command base guarding B-52 bombers. And I think it was in Texas. I forget the state. I mean the city. Maybe Amarillo or something like that.
Dias.
Yeah.
Dias Air Force Base.
It might have been, yeah. It's been a long time ago. But nuclear weapons were as big as those tables back in the early 60s.
Yeah.
In 62, 63, when I left, they were about that big. And before, all they could do is put 2 on a B-52 bomber. Now they have like 8 on a B-52 bomber.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Everything changes, everything evolves. You know, and in my new book, I say this: technology is changing our lives every second. You can go to college, you can get a degree, you can come out and work on a job for 2, 3, 5 years, and then technology will take your job away from you. McDonald's got robots cooking French fries. They got robots delivering orders. So in my new book, The Lessons of Life That All Children Need to Learn, you got to learn how to do more than one thing in life. You need to learn 3, 4, 5. You got to have an education. You've got to have common sense. You've got to have street sense. And you have to be able to set your goals and achieve them in your life. And don't just think, I'm going to work for 25, 30 years and get a retirement. Those days are over. That's no more with technology.
Yeah. All right. Well,
This gentleman here, you haven't spoken to.
yeah. I was just about to say. What about you? Where were you stationed?
I was after training at the academy. I went to Sacramento, Mather Air Force Base.
Oh, nice.
You see on his arm there, he was a lieutenant colonel.
Wait, where? On the left? Oh, right here. Oh, okay.
There.
Oh, nice.
Lieutenant colonel. I was just an E4 sergeant. That's my boss.
Oh,
Colonel.
nice. Can you guys describe your unit?
Go ahead.
My combat unit was the 13th Squadron, which was absolutely the best squadron in the world because everybody was professional.
Yeah.
So it's, again, as he said, you learn discipline. We put that into practice. And everybody was professional.
Yeah. Can you try to describe some of the people? What was their name? How did they act?
My hero was Fred Olmsted, he was an academy grad, was super cool, spoke Thai, spoke English, got a couple of MiGs. He was just an all-around great guy and a superb pilot.
Nice. What about you? Can you describe yours?
Yeah, I learned a lot from just about everybody that was an authority around me. I don't remember names, it's been so long ago. But everybody's there to help you, and everybody teaches you what to do, and to do it you don't do things halfway. You do things till it's complete. You don't set goals and don't achieve goals. And that's what everybody taught me. Wearing this hat, I have learned so much from other veterans because I had cancer of the larynx from Agent Orange. I had surgery and 33 radiation treatments. And I didn't know that Agent Orange had caused my cancer. I had the cancer in 1995, and I didn't apply for benefits until 2005. And that was because nobody ever notified us that we were poisoned and that there was 14 diseases connected to Agent Orange. And I found out in 2005, I applied for my benefits because of the cancer of the larynx. Agent Orange caused it. And they denied me. They denied my benefits. They said, we have no record of you ever serving in Vietnam. I had a copy of my orders sending me to Vietnam. I had a copy of the letter from General Westmoreland thanking me for my service in Vietnam. I sent it to him 5 times.
And they.
We have no record of you ever serving.
That sucks.
I went to AMVETS, and I met a guy there, and they help veterans. And he says, we're going to take those same orders that you've sent the VA 5 times. We're going to send those same orders to St. Louis, put them in your records, and we're going to file a claim again. Oh, yes, Mr. Smith. Yeah, you were in Vietnam. You got my orders 5 times.
Yeah.
So 3 years later, after I applied, they gave me 10% for cancer of the larynx. I should have got 100%
Oh yeah, definitely.
for cancer.
Sure.
They only gave me 10%. And they said, the reason we're giving you 10%, Mr. Smith, is because you didn't apply when you had the cancer. You didn't send me a letter telling me you poisoned me. You didn't send me give me a phone call.
Yeah, right.
I didn't know. I accidentally found out from a buddy of mine. He said they're giving an Agent Orange orientation class. And you told me you were in Vietnam and you had cancer. Why don't you go to it? And that's when I found out.
Yeah.
So I'm 100% disabled now. But it took me 14 years to get 100%.
That's wild.
But when you wear the hat, other veterans help you.
Yeah.
You know, if I didn't have the hat on, you don't know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
But if I got the hat on, or if they got the hat on, then we help each other.
Yeah.
We've done this all our lives, and we're brothers. I go to group because of PTSD. I've been going to group about 15 years. And I've gotten so much help for that. And now I'm able to come out more and be around people rather than locking myself up in the house.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. It's a good thing that you're working on it and it's getting better.
Yes, it is.
All right.
Could you please describe the first day of combat?
Why don't you ask this gentleman?
Sorry.
Okay. When you report for combat, they give you 10 missions to get ready, to combat ready. So the first 10 missions are pretty easy missions.
Yeah.
After the mission, I felt like I'm in the game. So, and I anticipate one of your questions is, why do you go to combat? And I compare it to football. If you train for football, do you want to sit on the bench or do you want to get in the game?
You want to get in the game.
If you train for flying, then you want to get in the combat games. So
So I understand that combat can be a traumatic experience in certain aspects, but how did you sometimes reminisce on how it felt during combat?
Flying was a different game. You commute to the war, basically. You take off and you got 20 minutes to relax. Then you get to the combat zone. You got 5 or 10 minutes of intensive combat, and then you got 30 minutes to unwind coming home. And if you were based in Thailand, you didn't have barbed wire and concertina and rocket attacks. So it was a totally different regime. I was told when you got there, if you follow the rules, you'll probably have a good tour. So they told us before in survival training that 1 out of 3 of us would have an abnormal tour, either shot down and killed, shot down and rescued, or shot down and go to jail. And I looked at the guy next to me and the guy next to me on the other side, wondering which one it would be. And all 3 of us had a normal first tour. I, unfortunately, extended. So I said, I'm coming back to fly some more. And I flew 265 missions where we brought back everybody we took off with. The 266th mission, I was flying with a guy who was known to take stupid chances. And that bit us that day, and we had to jump out. So I got caught, spent 9 months in jail. But I had a normal tour because we followed the rules with everybody else I flew with. So, if you follow the rules, common sense, it's pretty much the same as training in peacetime. Yeah, they're shooting at you, but it's not that big a deal. Of course, I'm an optimist.
Yeah.
Glass half full kind of guy?
Yeah.
He was a pilot
Yeah.
bombing them.
Oh, yeah.
What are your particular views on the draft and sort of how it went down?
Well, the draft was a necessary evil back then. I personally think everybody ought to spend a year in the military.
Like how other countries do, like
Yes.
Korea. It's
And
mandatory 2 years.
Israel.
Best thing I ever did in
Yes.
my life. I grew up.
Yeah.
I thought I was a man until I went to boot camp.
Yeah.
My brother believes the same thing.
Yeah.
He said if he didn't have the option, he would, hate to not go serve for
Yeah.
our country.
And the beauty of that is you learn teamwork.
Yeah.
And, Medal of Honor winners don't get it for being brave. They get it for saving their buddies. And throughout the military, I've got lifelong friends. It's a bond that you will not get in the civilian world.
I can imagine, sort of having to struggle together, having to do everything together.
Yeah,
It builds a brotherhood.
it does.
Just living with family, that just builds a bond that
Right.
can't end up being broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they send you to some god-awful places, so, you learn to get together, but you meet the people's families, and you spend a lot of time together. So it does create a bond. We're a family, the military.
Yes, we are. We're brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And we take care of each other.
Yeah. Especially when you're doing everything together, oh, yeah, definitely.
Do you know the reasons why we went to war? I'm not completely educated on this subject. I can't lie. So
There are lots of reasons there, the domino theory, stopping communism. And there is some truth to that. They also said there was Standard Oil. So it depends on who you talk to, why we went. But the reason I believe is that, China and Russia were trying to take over the world. So, and in fact, the people in Singapore said, thank you, you did stop them from coming down.
how were you treated when you were returned from the war?
I was treated wonderful because when we were released as a small group, it was a contrast to how the normal troops were dumped on when they came home.
Yeah,
Spit upon. Yeah.
When we came home, we didn't even want to wear our uniforms. People would spit on us. They'd call us baby killers. They they treated us badly, so you didn't even want anyone to know that you had gone to Vietnam, that you served in Vietnam.
Yeah.
They were total disrespectful then. Now it's changed. When people see you with the hat on, thank you for your service, sir. I even had a lady one year to walk up to me and hug me and kiss me over at Lowe's and said, thank you for your service, her and her husband.
That's
You know, it's totally changed from what it was when we first came back.
yeah. Did you have to deal with any like health related issues due to your service?
Yes, I was poisoned with
Yeah, of
Agent
course.
Orange from my exposure to it. And I had cancer of the larynx, had surgery and 33 radiation treatments. I have neuropathy in my feet, my legs, my hands. I've got a heart problem from it, and my sinuses were affected by Agent Orange also. And I go to PTSD, I have PTSD, so I go to group for that for the past 15 years. So it has affected me. I finally, after 14 years, got a rating of 100%. And they give me a pension every month to live off of.
All right.
And medical care and dental.
Did you have any health-related issues?
Well, when I ejected from the airplane, I lost an inch in height. I have some back problems. Yeah, so most of my things were from that. There's a possibility, there's skin cancer from being exposed to radiation at altitude. I don't have that problem, but a lot of pilots do. But most of mine came from the ejection. Otherwise, no real problems.
What's the best advice you guys could give to young people?
To get an education, to have common sense, to have street sense. Now, when I say street sense, do you see these kids out here selling bouquets of flowers? And they have 4 buckets and probably about 10 bouquets in each bucket. Why would you be standing outside with 40 arrangements in 4 buckets if you weren't making money? My second wife and I owned a flower shop in Los Angeles and a parking lot. And I used to deliver flowers to Forest Lawn Cemetery. And I would go down the road and I'd see 8 or 9 people on the weekend selling bouquets of flowers. And I would stick my nose up. I own a flower shop.
Yeah.
One month I needed some money. So I said, I'm going to go out there on Saturday. And there were like 9 people already out there. You can't take anybody's spot or you're in big trouble. Everybody honored everybody's spot. So I was at the end of the line. I got there at 8 o'clock in the morning to 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I made $250. So I said to myself, let me go out there on a Monday. I went out there on a Monday, there was nobody there. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, nobody there unless it was a holiday. I made as much as $1,500 a day
Jeez.
out there.
That's crazy.
500,000. So when you see these kids out here, don't look down on them. Why would I have 4 buckets if I didn't know I could sell them?
Of course.
There's no overhead.
Yeah, and there's no overhead. Back then I got 2 tickets. It wasn't, now you can get a license to do it. But I'd still been out there if I hadn't got the 2 tickets.
Of course.
Yeah, so I stopped. But so that's what I'm saying, you have street sense. You gotta have an education, you gotta have common sense, you've gotta have street sense. And especially with technology today, it's changing our lives every second. Jobs are being eliminated every second. So what are you going to do? You got to learn how to do more than one thing.
Yeah.
And you got to have the common sense and the street sense. You don't look down on people. People judge people. I don't look down on. How can I judge you if I don't know you? I can't judge you. A lot of people say, "Oh, the homeless, they're just they're drug addicts, alcohol." You don't know who they are. How can you judge me? I don't know who you are, who you are, who you are. How can I judge you? I can't.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine, another Vietnam buddy of mine, and I, before COVID, we fed the homeless for about 5 years. And every once a month we'd go out with 35 bag lunches and 35 bottles of water. And sometimes people would give us gifts or something to also add to it. And we do a sandwich, and we do some vegetables, and we do a dessert and a bottle of water. And when COVID came along, we stopped. But I could have almost been homeless myself at one time.
Yeah.
I had a business, a flower shop on Bear Valley in Kiowa, and not a flower shop. I'm sorry. I had a furniture store.
Oh.
The 80-year-old man here is losing his memory a little bit. But I had a 15-year lease, and the guy went into foreclosure, didn't tell me he was in foreclosure. He ended up losing the building. I had borrowed a lot of money on my house in Spring Valley Lake to open up the store. I lost the furniture store. I lost a lot of money. I lost my house in Spring Valley Lake. And my ex-wife and her sister had loaned me money, helping me to try to save the house. And when I finally got evicted, I only had the first month's rent to rent an apartment. I rented a house. And the sister-in-law, I left her sister for another woman. And she was kind enough to loan me $1,500. Or I would have been homeless out here myself. And I love both of them dearly. I would do anything for them.
Yeah.
Because of their kindness.
Of course. What about you? Do you have any advice you would give to
Sure.
young people?
Take responsibility for your actions.
That's right.
Of course.
Everything you do affects other people. So these kids are out there participating in the smash and grab robberies and all that stuff, the shooting in school and all that. Think about how you're affecting other people. You know, think before you act. And you do what's right because it's right. That's pure and simple.
Of course.
And everybody has cameras now.
Yeah.
So you going to commit a crime, they got you on film everywhere you go.
Yeah.
You know, I got cameras all around my house. My neighbors have got cameras all around the house. Every store has got cameras. Crime has got to stop.
Yeah.
It's got to. It's destroying us. But the cameras are going to destroy them.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Well, that was the end of the questions that we have. Do you have any extra questions that you would like to ask?
No, I would just like to thank you guys for your service. You know,
I appreciate that.
There's always something fun here at Shadow Ridge School.
Hi, it's in Shadow Ridge School, the best indie in the HD.
Hi, my name is Aaliyah Fowler, and I'm from Shadow Ridge, the best indie school out here in Hesperia. You know what it is.
I go to Shadow Ridge School, the best indie in HD.